Good evening, everyone. Welcome again to another live streaming of basic transfer pricing. And we will continue tonight with our topic on the case of United Parcel Service of America, Inc. in behalf of itself and its consolidated subsidiaries versus Commissioner of Internal Revenue. Maulan na gabi sa inyong lahat, no? Sobra talaga ang lakas ng hangin, lalo na kagabi. Yung aming rooftop parang umaalog na rin, at saka yung mga tubig pumapasok na sa loob. Sobra, parang kinakalampag yung mga pintuan. Napakalakas ng hangin, no? Sana at least ngayon halos wala na. Okay, shout out Hari.
Po kay Sir Eugene Cruz.
Siya lang?
Siya pa lang po.
Okay, may viewers na tayo?
Meron na po, ma'am. 4.
Okay, so good evening Sir Eugene, and good evening din po sa ating mga viewers. Now, let's continue with our discussion on the United Parcel Services. Ito yung delivery, no? And ano bang topic natin? Ito yung excess value charges. Ano tong excess value charges? Dito nag-umpisa or nag-ugat yung isang issue nila sa transfer pricing. Why? Because this excess value charges, parang may charges sila na iba na nilalagay sa kanilang mga billing charges, hindi nila sinasama sa gross income, no? So diyan sila inassess kasi kasama yan sa services. Bakit hindi mo isama sa gross receipt mo, no? And then ito yung economic substance analysis, kung yung bang transactions mo has economic substance. Why? Because if the transaction has no economic substance, then it is a sham transactions, then it can be disallowed. Kasi parang sa ngayon, no? Kasi nag-i-evolve na rin. Matagal na kasi ang transfer pricing, although dito sa Pilipinas bago pa. But sa iba, matagal na. That's why yung mga ginagamit na mga terms dati, sham transactions, economic substance, iba na rin ngayon, nag-iiba na. Lalo-lalo na sa taxation on the digitized economy, ang daming mga bagong dyan, no? Dyan ako nag-focus because of I answered the case study 2 po ng aking advanced professional certificate in international taxation. Diyos ko, no? Na naman tayo, nagkahilo-hilo na naman tayo dun sa case study. Kasi very diverse siya. Ang daming mga topics, hindi lang isa, no? In-include pa nila yung bagong batas sa digitized economy, yung bagong regulations or guidance on digitized economy, which nagawa na nila. But it would be finalized pa itong October 2021, but it's good, nandiyan na talaga, pati computation, pati that's why kailan yung akin na nga yung schedule natin, Hari, doon sa August natin na andun siya, andun siya, kasi sa transfer pricing updates natin, which is 2 days, yun po yung i-update ko sa inyo. Very, very good topic, no? So, we have, alam nyo yung PICPA, NNMC. Ang daming mga ngayon sa akin, Hari, invitations. Hindi, may iba. May yung isa, yung mga kaso lang, gusto ko silang pagbigyan, but because of the constraint of time, no? Hindi ko yung mga nag-i-invite because of the conflict na schedule. Ito ngang isa, pinagbigyan ko sa August 17, no? Yung PICPA North, Metro Manila Chapter. We have our transfer pricing updates on August 12 and 13, no? So, mag-invite tayo niyan, Hari, because that's a very good topic. 2 days yan, no? And that is very, very much current, no? So, yun yung gagawin natin. August 12 to 13. Yung ibang mga seminars natin na mga redundant naman, hindi na muna natin yan i-conduct kasi I will be taking the examination for uh, advanced professional certificate in international taxation in September, no? Hindi kayang isabay sa ibang activities. Why? Mahihilo ka sa reading materials, napakarami, no? And it is the turning point kung papasa ka o hindi because uh, that is graded, no? At pagka hindi mo siya naipasa, hindi ka mabigyan ng certificate. So, useless yung binayad mong ang mahal-mahal. That's why you have to concentrate muna August to September for the exam. But since related naman dun sa study natin itong transfer pricing updates, which is the digitized economy, so isabay na po natin. That would be on August 12 and 13, no? Then sa September 9 and 10. So yun lang muna yung anuhin natin sa transfer pricing. All others after September na po, no? So let's go back to our discussion today, the United Parcels Service of America, Inc. This is the case against the Commissioner of Internal Revenue on their assessment of deficiency income for the year 1983 and 1984. No? Hari, mag-update na tayo ng mga cases na kita ko. Meron ng mga cases na 2021. Yun na yung mga i-discuss natin after this kasi we already have our schedule up to July 28, no? Ito yung case of Asset Inc. versus Commissioner of Internal Revenue on the accuracy-related penalty and the net operating loss carry forward. Yun yung mga issues. So after that, sa August, ano na yung cases natin, yung 2021 na ang dami, no? At saka ang gaganda. So let's go back to the issue here, no? Ang i-discuss natin sa inyo ngayon, this is the last day, no? Na part 2 na to ng discussion on the United Parcel Service of America. So ang tutukan natin is itong EVC nila or the excess value charges, which sabi ko nga sa inyo, nakalagay doon sa charges nila, nakalagay doon sa resibo, they charge it to their client, pero hindi nila sinasama sa gross income. That's why chinarge sila ng negligence o kaya yung intentional na parang fraud, no? Na hindi nila sinama yung taxable income nila in the computation of their tax liability. And what are the issues in this case, no? So, number 1, whether amounts collected by petitioner as excess value charges. So, number 1 talaga sa issue nila, yung excess value charges, which is tutukan natin ngayon, no? Discuss natin sa inyo. What is this excess value charges? From its customers must be included in the gross income in 1984 pursuant to its section 61. No? Sobrang sakit na aking tuhod. We hold that EVC must be included in petitioner's income. So anong resolution ng court dito? Decision ng court. EVC must be included in the petitioner's income. Yes, kasi kasama yun sa charges niya, ba't hindi sasama sa gross income? And number 2, whether petitioner is entitled to deductions under Section 162 for any amounts paid to National Union Fire Insurance. Ito yung insurance expense niya. Of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We hold that petitioner is not entitled to those deductions. Yung kanyang insurance expense, no? Whether respondent properly disallowed petitioner's deductions of 11,151,675 paid to Liberty Mutual Insurance Group as California Workers' Compensation Premium, we hold that the deduction is allowable. So yung kanina na National Fire Insurance, hindi deductible, pero ito yung sa compensation premium deductible. Number 4, whether petitioner is liable for an addition to tax pursuant to Section 6653A1 and 2 for negligence or intentional disregard of rules or regulations for the tax year 1984. We hold that it is. So liable siya. Number 5, whether petitioner is liable for an addition to tax under Section 6661 for a substantial understatement of tax for 1984, no? We hold that it is. So yun yung decision ng court, no? Liable sila. Whether petitioner is liable for increased interest on substantial underpayments attributable to tax-motivated transactions under Section 6621 for 1984. So, ito yung pinakamarami talaga niya na assessment, no? Yung 1984. We hold that it is. Okay? Some of the facts have been stipulated and are so found. The stipulations of facts are incorporated herein by this reference. At the time the petition was filed, petitioner was a Delaware corporation with its principal office in Atlanta, Georgia. So, US company po siya. No? Sino ba itong United Parcel Service or UPS at the time, no, 1984, at the time of this case? UPS is the largest motor carrier in the United States with a principal business consisting of the pickup and delivery of small packages and parcels. Parang yung DHL din, no? At sa atin yung parang LBC, no? So during 1983 and 1984, ito yung year na under dispute, no? Petitioner conducted its business through wholly owned subsidiaries in the United States, Canada, and West Germany. Petitioner United Parcel Service of America, Inc., or UPS, had several wholly owned subsidiaries, including United Parcel Services, New York, UPS New York, United Parcel Services, Inc., Ohio, UPS Ohio, and United Parcel Services General Services Company, or UPS General Services. UPS General Services provides management services to affiliates of UPS. UPS New York provides ground delivery services in the eastern region of the United States. UPS Ohio provides ground delivery services in the central and western region of the United States. No? Within the United States, petitioner generally provided statewide intrastate service and interstate service between all points in the states and the District of Columbia. Another subsidiary, UPS Air, provided air delivery services for packages traveling partially by air. Ito yung delivery na by air, no? Para mabilis. Petitioner had 62 operating districts in the United States. Kaya nga siya yung pinakamalaki at the time. Each district had an operational and administrative staff and a manager who was responsible for all district operations. The district manager reported to one of 11 regional managers who in turn reported to the corporate headquarters. No? So maganda yung kanyang organizational structure. Generally, it's package pick up by a UPS driver is delivered to a package operating center. At each center, packages are unloaded from package cars, unloaded onto trailers, which hold the packages either directly to another center for delivery or to a US sorting hub. No? Kasi may sorting hub pa sila kasi isusort mo kung saan papunta yung mga cargo na yan, no? Or packages. At the hub, packages are sorted by destination, no? Kung saan pupunta. Loaded back onto trailers and hauled to the appropriate center where they are loaded onto package cars for delivery. Packages traveling by air are sorted at an air hub and transported to the center for delivery. So, yun po yung operation ng UPS, no? That's how UPS operates. Na-discuss na natin yung ibang issues last meeting natin. So this time, doon na tayo sa EBC, no? Yung extra value services niya na sinasabi. Okay. Sige, shout out muna.
Shoutout po kay Sir Jim Carlo Bautista. Good
Okay.
evening daw po. Pati kay Ma'am Julie Principe, good evening daw po.
Ano na rin si Ma'am Julie, ha?
Ma'am, nasenda ko na siya ng link.
Okay. Sige.
Maayong gabi daw ma'am sa tanan from Cebu City. Si Ma'am Rosalina Tune.
Always si Ma'am Rosalina. Sana walang bagyo sa inyo, no? Kasi dito sobrang lakas. Pero mo umaalog pati rooftop. Sa sobrang lakas talaga. Parang inaano yung mga bakal. Grabe. Sige. Wala na?
Wala na.
Okay, sige. Sige. Discuss po natin itong ano ba itong EVC na tinatawag nito, no? Yung extra value charges nila. Okay. Although yung insurance nila nagiging issue yung insurance, but we have discussed that nung nakaraan, no? Yung EVC nila, yung extra value charges nila, meron silang total dito, no? From 1979 to 1989. Meron ka ba dyan? Page 92? 92. Ito yung extra value charges nila, no? During that year, which is under scrutiny by the tax authority kasi hindi nila sinama sa gross income, no? So for the year 1979, meron siyang extra value charges na 49,200,000. Imagine, laki-laki, no? Tapos hindi sinasama sa gross income. Claim over $100 paid, 13,800,000. ABC's less claim paid, 35,400,000. So ratio is 72%. Kasi yung extra value charges niya, ito yung binabayad niya pag may nag-claim, no? Sa over $100, no? So 72% pa yung natira, no? Sa 1980, ganun din. 72% din ang ratio. 1981, 71%. 1982, 71. 1983, hanggang 1989, no? 63%. Tingnan nyo ha, sa 1989, yung extra value charges niya is 208,596,033. So, hindi niya sinama sa gross income, no? So, amounts in this column for 1979 and 1980 are estimated amounts, no? The column represents the ratio of excess value income less claim paid divided by total excess value income. Petitioner's excess value claims payments over 11 years never exceeded 40% of the total excess value income. Considering the consistency of the ratio of loss, claims, payments to EVC, revenue from year to year, we find that the possibility that the total cumulative annual payment for shipping losses from single occurrences involving less than 25,000 might exceed EVC revenue was so remote that for all practical purposes, it was non-existent, no? So, as a result, the level of risk, if any, that was shifted from petitioner to INUF and OPL was insignificant. Ito yung reason niya bakit may EVCs yan, no? Kasi pang-cover daw yun ng mga losses. So the possibility that cumulative catastrophic losses is in excess of the 10 million per occurrence limit, ang layo ng probability, no? Involving less than per occurrence limit on the AFM policy would occur, and that claim for occurrences involving less than $25,000 would increase dramatically, and that either individually or in combination they would exceed total EVCs was improbable. So, malaki talaga yung EVC nila, yung extra value charges nila, as compared dun sa sinasabi nila na it will cover the losses incurred by the company. No? Pangbayad daw nila yun sa losses. Okay. Yung paniniwala daw nila na the ABC would exceed doon sa total na occurrences nila ng claim was improbable, unrealistic, and insignificant, no? So we find that these theoretical possibilities had nothing to do with petitioners' motivation for transferring the ABC profits less fronting cost to OPL, and that the inserting of INYO, F, and OPL, ito yung mga operating loss nila, no, into petitioner's ABC activity provided no significant non-tax benefit to either petitioner or its shipper, no? Okay. Another factor in determining whether a particular transaction was a sham. Ano ibig sabihin ng sham transaction? Gawa-gawa lang, no? Hindi totoo. Or fraudulent, no? Transaction was a sham is the presence or absence of arm's length price negotiations, no? So walang price negotiations. And the relationship between the price and fair market value. Okay. So, see Helba versus Commissioner. Supplemented by TC Memo 1987. No? Okay. So, yun yung mga cases. So, in deciding such issues, courts often look to experts' opinion. No? The court is not bound by the opinion of any expert, and we may accept or reject in full or in part experts' opinions proffered by the parties. Okay. Both petitioner and respondent offered the reports and testimony of various expert witnesses in an effort to establish an arm's length price that petitioner could have obtained for the coverage provided by INUF and OPL. Respondent offered the expert report of Mr. Kelly for the purpose of proving that within the insurance industry, the arm's length price that petitioner could have obtained for coverage associated with the petitioner's excess value activity would have been substantially less than 25 cents per $100 of excess value. Mr. Kelly has an excess of 30 years of experience buying and providing insurance and reinsurance products. In his report, Mr. Kelly stated, the 25 cents per $100 of declared value charges used on the INUF policy was apparently derived directly from petitioner's tariff filing and bore no reasonable relationship to the rate that would have been developed in a competitive marketplace for a comparable insurance arrangement transacted on an arm's length basis. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga charges nila hindi arm's length, no? At saka wala silang basis of the study na yun talaga yung amount that should be charged. For the period 1984 through 1989, total premium received and losses paid on the INUF policy amounted to approximately 845 million and 281 million respectively, for an overall loss ratio of 33%. There was little or no potential for late reported claims or significant adverse reserve development on business of this kind, so the numbers reflected on INUF premium and loss bordereau may be treated as final for the year involved. In a competitive marketplace, such results could never be achieved. Okay. So it should be noted that the U.S. property casualty insurance industry has achieved a combined ratio, the sum of the loss ratio incurred losses divided by earned premium plus the expense ratio. So expenses divided by written premium of less than 100% produced an underwriting profit. Oh, so may profit sila, no, sa underwriting in only 3 of the past 20 years. It is also extremely unlikely that any insurance broker that permitted an insurer to generate such profits at the expense of its client could expect to retain that client for very long. So in this instance, of course, the profits were not retained by INUF but flowed as intended as ceded reinsurance premium back to OPL. Okay. So Mr. Kelly logically concluded that the 25-cent price per $100 of excess value set on the NUF policy was not an arm's length price. No. That would have been agreed upon in a competitive market. So, anong rule natin pagka hindi arm's length should be adjusted. No? So, just like in this case. This conclusion is also supported by comparing the 25-cent price paid to NUF with the price that was offered by FFIC and PIP. Ito yung mga company no, na involved dun sa providing insurance. For more than 15 years before 1983, FFIC, through a policy sold by PIP, solicited and sold excess value coverage to petitioner shippers. Generally, PIP sold the excess value coverage at a price of 0.125 per $100 of coverage. Ito yung comparable niya, ito yung independent party niya, no? Kasi 'di ba ang charge ng UPS is 0.25 cents per or 25 cents per $100 na bayad nila doon sa package, no, sa delivery ng packages. So, may insurance kasi to cover the damages. Pero yung comparable nila, ito yung PIP, no, the excess value coverage at a price of 0.125 per $100 of coverage. So kalahati. Yung kanila 0.25, yung sa comparable nila is only 0.125, no? So kalahati. PIP retained approximately 36% of the premium in 1983 and 34% in 1984. Thus, of the 0.125 per $100 of coverage, PIP retained approximately 0.45 and 0.0425 in 1983 and 1984, respectively. On the other hand, if FIC underwrote the coverage for approximately 6 cents, 8 cents per $100 of coverage in 1983 and 0.0825 in 1984, mas mura pa yung FFIC, no? FFIC was able to realize a gross profit margin of 27% in 1983. So malaki pa rin ang kinikita niya, ang baba-baba ng singil niya, no? In 1983, based on an approximate price of 8 cents per $100 of excess value coverage, no? So, saan kumita si UPS? Doon sa charges niya na 25 cents, no? Yun yung excess value coverage niya. So, the FFIC or the PIA program did not offer coverage to certain high-risk shippers. Nevertheless, the coverage underwritten by FFIC was very similar to that which was purported to be provided by NUF and OPL and is an indication that the price of the excess value coverage provided by NUF and OPL was substantially more than the price petitioner could have obtained in arm's length negotiations. So, anong sinasabi nila dito? More than the price, no, ng arm's length negotiations. Respondent expert Professor Alan Shapiro, PhD, Professor of Finance and Business Economics. Ito na yung sinasabi ko na pagka nag-transfer pricing analyst na kayo, once na yung case ng client nyo will reach the court, no? Ang patayin mo yung langaw hari. Merong pamatay ng langaw dyan. The price of the excess value coverage provided by NUF and OPL was substantially more than the price petitioner could have obtained in arm's length negotiations. Respondent expert, no? So, anong sabi niya dito? Si Shapiro, no? Professor Shapiro based his analysis on the proposition that an arm's length price for OPL's excess value coverage would be one that over time provided OPL with a fair return on its necessary equity investment. No? So, in coming to his conclusion, Professor Shapiro compared what OPL's return on equity would have been had it been ensuring the AVC activity during the year 1979 through 1983 with that of other members of the insurance sector. No? So OPL would have operated in Professor Shapiro's report contained the following chart. Anuin mo yung page 98. No? Dahil siguro sa malakas ang ulan, yung mga lamok din, no? Mga langaw dito din sila nagtago sa loob. Okay. Oh, yan o. Okay. So, other members of the insurance sector, OPL, would have operated in. So, Professor Shapiro's report contained the following chart. Ito yung chart niya, no? Na by year. Which included value line statistics regarding return on equity in each year for 22 property or casualty insurers and diversified insurance companies. Yan po talaga ang trabaho ng transfer pricing, no? You have to have data or information on industry or the same player in the industry. Kaya nga, sabi ko, we have to strengthen our records, our database, no? For anticipation of the transfer pricing study per industry. No? So, yung favorite ko talaga, yung banana industry, extractive industries, yung mga mga quarries, no, yung mining, no, mga extractive industries yan sila. Then manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, no. So we have to gather all those industry data. Okay. So ito, industry data to ng insurance companies, no. And then meron siyang mga companies dito. So anong pinakita niya dito? Return on equity. Okay. So ano yung mga return on equity niya dito? So for 1979, main value line, return on equity, ito yung percentage niya, no? 23.5, 20.4, 20.5, 13.8, 11.8, 18%, no? Ang mean, no? So, ilang years ito? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no? For 5 years. And then we also have the estimated value line, no? Ano naman yung kanyang return on equity? For 1979, 18.5, 1980, 20, 1981, 22, 1982, 19, 1983, 17. So, yung mean niya is 19.5, no? Sa minimum value line, mababa, no? Siguro mababa na siya maningil. No? 12.4 and then 8.3, 9.7, tapos 0.1, 0.1. So, ang mean niya is 6.1. Maximum value line, pareho lang, no? 39, 40, 42, 26, 27, 35. No? 0.1. Taas. OPL, estimated ROA, 173.6. Estimated ROA sa point 92 charge niya is 14.6. Estimated OPL, 14.6 ang mean. No? So, K is the estimated year-by-year cost of equity capital. No? Professor Shapiro concluded that had OPL been in existence during the periods preceding 1984 and had it charged a fee of 25 cents instead of 0.092 per $100 in excess value coverage, it would have earned huge persistent returns, and that OPL return on equity would have been over 4 times as large as the highest return earned. Doon pa lang yan sa, magkano lang yun? Sa 25 cents, no? Ang laki ng return niya. Okay, which is yan ang ginamit ni UPS. No? As the highest return earned by any of the value line companies in any year, and its average ROA of 173.6% would have been almost 10 times the average ROA of 18.0% earned by the value line companies. No? So respondent also offered the expert report of Mr. Frederick Kilburn, an actuary, for his opinion regarding an arm's length premium for the coverage associated with petitioners' excess value activity. So in computing the premium rate, Mr. Kilburn analyzed the following premium elements. Losses. Ito yung payment to claimants, no? Which we presented kanina. Claim expenses, other expenses, investment income, risk charge provision for profit and catastrophes. So Mr. Kilburn determined on an actuarial basis the following rates per premium element, no? In cents per $100 of coverage. So losses is 7.5 cents. Claim expenses 0. Other expenses 0.4. Risk charge 0.4. Investment income negative 0.2. So total is 8.1 cents. Okay. So si Mr. Kilburn also concluded that if claim expenses were to be covered within the premium rate as is customary in the industry, the needed rate would increase from 8.1 cents to about 8.6 cents, no? Another expert, so, kasi pagka po may ano na sa court, may case na sa court, the respondent o yung nag-file ng case, pwede siyang kumuha ng kanyang expert. On the side of the government, kukuha din po sila ng kanilang expert, no? So, kanya-kanya silang presentation ng data and information. Another respondent expert, Dr. Blaine Nay, an insurance economist, explained in his expert report that an insurance company would price a policy by calculating the expected losses and expenses and adding an underwriting profit margin. Ganyan sila mag-charge, no, sa client. Dr. Ney used the capital asset pricing model to derive an underwriting profit for petitioners' excess value activity. Dr. Ney concluded that the arm's length price of an insurance ang lalaki ng lamok, hari. Dr. Ney concluded that the arm's length price of an insurance arrangement providing coverage on the liability to shippers declaring values in excess of $100 to be 32% of declared value revenues. Thus, according to Dr. Ney, petitioner would have paid a price of approximately 8 cents, no, 8 cents, which is 32% of 25 cents per $100 of coverage to insure its excess value activity liability. No, so malayo pa rin sa doon sa 25 cents na charge ni UPS. So one of the experts presented by petitioner at trial implicitly acknowledged that petitioner could have negotiated a lower arm's length price for the coverage provided by NUF and OPL. No? Dito na sila talaga umuwi kasi ulan. Oh, nagtago na dito yung mga lamok, ang dami. So petitioner presented Dr. Nel Doherty as an expert in the economics of insurance. So ang daming expert, no? So on cross-examination, Dr. Doherty responded as follows. Question, from purely insurance pricing perspective, would you agree that if Overseas Partners Limited was entirely unrelated to UPS, had no common shareholders, no common officers, no common board of directors, that this transaction would have made little sense from UPS perspective? Answer. Everything else in the transaction was the same except that the ownership of OPL was different. It was totally unrelated. No? Yun ang sagot niya. Totally unrelated daw. Question. And from an insurance pricing perspective, the question is whether that the transaction would make sense from UPS perspective. Answer. That a little difficult to answer. It would be very strange to think if UPS had the opportunity to sell insurance either directly or indirectly at the prices which were prevailing in that marketplace at the time. It would be a rather strange business decision to basically give off that profit to an outsider. Oh. So, anong ginawa ni, yung meron siyang EBC para to cover the losses, no? So, as previously explained in 1984, the EBC billed by petitioner was 99,794,789.67. No? So, yun yung billed ni UPS. And claim paid were 22 million. Oh, 99, 22. So, 72 million yung excess niya. Thus, claim paid in 1984 represented approximately 22% of the total ABC billed, no? So, ang laki ng tubo. Claim paid during the years 1979 through 1983 represented approximately 28.6% of the total ABC billed during those years. After carefully considering the entire record, including the expert reports offered by both petitioner and respondent, we are persuaded that the price of 25 cents per $100 of excess value liability paid to INUF pursuant to the shipper's interest contract that petitioner and INUF agreed to was not a result of arm's length negotiations, and that the price of 25 cents per $100 was far in excess of the price that could have been negotiated by petitioner. This is another indication to us that petitioner's arrangement with INUF and OPL was a sham, no? So, ano yun? Sham transactions, lack economic substance, or gawa-gawa lang, no? Kasi, ang laki ng tubo. Finally, unlike petitioner's purported business reasons for its arrangement with INUF and OPL, there is contemporaneous documentation to establish that petitioner seriously considered and was motivated by the reduction of federal income tax. Ayun ang pinakamasaklap kasi yung tax avoidance, no? Reduction of federal income tax that would occur by transferring excess value income to OPL, no? So, yung excess value income, yung EBC niya, charges, nilipat niya. So, in July 1982, petitioner, tax manager, and other employee prepared a memorandum to Mr. Danielski concerning tax and other implication of the insurance businesses. The memorandum was prompted by a meeting at which petitioner ABC program was discussed. Ayun. Kasi sisingilin na sila ng IRS. In September 1982, Hall prepared a memorandum regarding the feasibility of creating a United Parcel Service Insurance Subsidiary. So gagawa na sila ng insurance subsidiary to cover the needs nila for insurance. So throughout the memorandum, Hall noted that there was a number of tax benefits if an offshore insurance company were to be created. The tax benefits were stated to be approximately 24 million. Yun yung na-estimate nila, no? Na tax benefits, 24 million. In summary, the report states, it has been the purpose of this brief preliminary report to consider in some detail the immediate potential available to petitioner in maximizing the profit potential in the declared value protection which you are currently providing shippers, and also to acquaint you with some of the basic issues involved to a captive operating in either a traditional role or within the context of the declared value program as an insurance subsidiary. It appears obvious to us that the conversion of the declared value program to an insured basis utilizing an offshore insurer and first will increase the profits generated by the program by approximately 24 million. It is also obvious that there are many complex issues involved in this conversion which should be considered by counsel. So ano yung number one talaga that you have to consider when you make such program? The tax consequences, no? So the potential increase in after-tax profit appears to be totally dependent on projected savings in federal income tax. May langaw pa. In March 1983, Hall prepared a memorandum that contained a description of the tax benefits if petitioner used the alternative structure for the excess value program. The memorandum indicated that the projected tax benefit to petitioner was 16,077,500 for the first year, no? First year pa lang yun. Hall arrived at this amount by calculating the benefit for petitioner to be equal to the elimination of income. Okay, so, yun yung reason why nagkaroon sila ng EVC or ito yung extra value charges, no? Which ito yung reason din kung bakit sila na-assess ng in-assess sila ng IRS, no? Okay. So, sa Section 162 deductions, having held that petitioner restructuring of its excess value activity constituted a sham transaction that had no economic effect. No? We are presented with the question of whether petitioner is entitled to deduct the amounts retained by INUF. The amounts retained consisted of INUF commission of 1 million plus allowances for various costs. No? So Section 162 allow us a deduction all ordinary and necessary expenses paid or incurred during the taxable year in carrying or on any trade or business. So ang question dito, entitled ba sila doon sa expenses, no? Okay. Section 162 allow us a deduction all ordinary and necessary expenses paid or incurred during the taxable year in carrying on any trade or business, no? However, expenses incurred in furtherance of a sham transaction are not deductible. So, hindi pwedeng i-deduct. As stated by the Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit in Kirksman versus Commissioner. Anong sabi niya about ng court about the sham transaction? The sham transaction doctrine requires courts and the commissioner to look beyond the form of a transaction and determine whether its substance is of such a nature that expenses or losses incurred in connection with it are deductible under an applicable section of the Internal Revenue Code. If a transaction's form complies with the code's requirements for deductibility, but the transaction lacks the factual or economic substance that form represents, then expenses or losses incurred in connection with the transaction are not deductible. So, in this case, yung deductions nila na claim for the payment of insurance, no expense, hindi allowed ng court. No? Okay. So we have found that petitioner's restructuring of its EVC activity was a sham set up to reduce tax. Okay. So yun na yung pronouncement ng court, ha? Following the reasoning in cases such as Kirkman versus Commissioner, we hold that the amounts retained by INUF are not deductible. No? Okay. So yung mga binayad nila sa mga insurance companies hindi allowable. Okay. Kahit nasabihin pa na yung mga insurance policy nila are valid contract of insurance, but since yung substance is a sham, hindi pa rin inallowed ng court, no? Okay. Respondent determined that petitioner is liable for addition to tax for negligence under Section 6653. No? It imposes a 5% addition to tax if any part of any underpayment of tax required to be shown on a return is due to negligence or intentional disregard of rules or regulations. Bakit? Kasi yung kanilang ABC or extra value charges to cover nga dun sa insurance, hindi nila sinama as income, no? Napagkalaki-laki nung kanilang kinita. Negligence within the meaning of Section 6653A has been defined as the failure to do what a reasonable and ordinary prudent person would do under the circumstances. With respect to the restructuring of the excess value income, we have found that petitioner engaged in ongoing sham transactions devoid of economic substance during the year at issue. Yun yung year na 1984. So petitioner is a sophisticated taxpayer. Magaling kasi marami silang consultants. The primary thrust of petitioner's argument was that it had valid business purposes for restructuring its EVC activities. Sabi niya, we have not accepted this explanation on the basis of the record as described above. Bakit hindi in-accept yun ng court? Kasi they are allowed to make an EVC or extra value charges for the payment of insurance for the losses. Pero sobrang laki ng kanilang income and that yung income nila, hindi nila sinama dun sa taxable income. In this case, pwede sana yun no? On the other side. Kung halimbawa, kumita sila ng 70% dun sa kanilang ginawang arrangement when it comes to extra value charges nila to cover the insurance charges. Sana yung income doon, sinama nila as taxable income. No? So, in that case, parang hindi lalabas na sham transactions yung ginawa nila. Why? Because they pay taxes. No? Kaya nga alam nyo, yung payment of taxes will also clear you from yung criminal liability. Why? Kasi ang ibig sabihin lang doon, ang ginawa mo is not to defraud the government. No? Kasi nagbayad ka ng tax. But in this case, ang laki-laki nung kanilang kinita doon sa extra value charges nila, hindi nila sinubject to tax. No? So, petitioner is a sophisticated taxpayer. The primary thrust of petitioner's argument was that it had valid business purpose for restructuring its EVC activities. We have not accepted this explanation on the basis of the record as described above, no? Kasi may mga expert witnesses na nga silang hinire. We reject any contention that petitioner had a reasonable basis for the positions taken on the returns, whether for sustain respondent's determination. Sino yung respondent dito? Yung Commissioner of Internal Revenue, in-uphold yung kanilang findings. Sustain respondent's determination under Section 6653. We further sustain respondent's determination under Section 6653 with regard to that portion of the underpayment of tax that is attributable to the excess value charges. No? Respondent also determined that petitioner is liable for an addition to tax for 1984 under Section 6651. Ito yung penalties, no? Attributable to substantial understatement of income tax, no? So, ang laki. Okay. So, the authority cited by petitioner on brief does not support its position with respect to its excess value activity. We sustain respondent's determination with respect to the understatement related to the excess value activity. Ano yung purpose doon sa hindi nila ni-report yun sa income? To have a tax savings, no? To avoid payment of taxes. Respondent also determined that petitioner is liable for increased interest o pati interest under Section 6621 for 1984 on the portion of the deficiency attributable to EVCs or ito yung extra value charges nila to cover, nasabi nila ng insurance expense nila to cover the losses. Section 6621C provided for an interest rate of 120% of the adjusted rate established under Section 6621B on substantial underpayments that exceed 1,000 and are attributable to tax-motivated transactions. Oh, bakit siya tax-motivated transactions? Kasi nakasave sila sobrang laki ng payment of taxes. Tax-motivated transactions include any sham or fraudulent transactions. Section 6621C, 3AV. We have held that with respect to the restructuring of the excess value activity, petitioner engaged in sham transactions lacking in economic substance. So, basta sham transactions na walang economic substance. Ano ibig sabihin ng walang economic substance? No commercial reason or no business purpose. No? Ano lang yung ginawa nila to save payment of taxes. On the basis of the findings set forth therein and the fact that the underpayment of tax will exceed $1,000 in 1984, Section 6621C is applicable to the underpayment attributable to those transactions that we have found to be sham. See Price versus Commissioner. So, yan po yung decision on this case, no? Ito yung UPS, United Parcels of America, United Parcel Service of America versus the Commissioner of Internal Revenue. So, in this case, sino nanalo dito? Panalo yung Commissioner of Internal Revenue. Bakit? Para sa akin, ano yung pagkukulang dito ng UPS? Hindi niya tinax yung kanyang income derived from the EVC niya, yung extra value services niya. No? So, for July 28, we will have our accuracy-related penalty and we will have our net operating loss carry forward in the case of Asset Incorporated versus Commissioner of Internal Revenue. Yung ginawa namin ng mga cases for the month of July, halos mga US cases ito, no? Pero yung August, research na kami dun sa 2021 na mga cases. And karamihan mga Europe, no? EU cases. And for your information, yung EU may sarili silang transfer pricing laws, no? Aside from the OECD transfer pricing guidelines, mas mahigpit pa yung sa kanila, especially in the documentation. And ang dami nilang mga guidelines, mga specific guidelines, especially in the preparation of the documentation requirements for transfer pricing purposes. No? May shout-out pa, Hari? Sige, shout-out muna.
Shoutout po kay Ina Official from Pangasinan.
Okay.
Sabi po ni Ma'am Rosalina Tune, mainit daw sa Cebu.
Wow! Walang bagyo sa kanila. Dito sobra. Grabe.
Super init daw doon, ma'am.
Talaga? Eh di mainit din sa kanlaon. No? Nako. Dito super maulan. Ilang weeks na to, Hari. No?
Dalawa na.
No? Magto 2 weeks na. Super. At saka ang lakas talaga ng hangin. Nakakatakot. Yung 3 years na ako dito sa building na to, yun yung pinakamalakas na hangin na experience ko kahapon, So, buti na lang yung mga halaman ko sa rooftop natanggal na. Otherwise, nagkabali-balibag yun sa lakas ng hangin. No? Biro mo, from the 3rd floor, itapon siya sa baba. Kung may natamaan ng mga tao. Diyos ko. Calamities po talaga siya. No? So, that's all we have for today kasi mayroon po kaming seminar bukas for 6-day seminar for tax agent. No? Ito yung comprehensive seminar in taxation. Mag-umpisa kami sa registration hanggang sa lahat ng klaseng income. May income tax, VAT, percentage tax, excise tax, DOCS tax. Ini-discuss po natin lahat yan sa 6 days. And then meron pa tayong real property taxes and local taxes, and then yung taxpayer remedies. And then sinama ko na rin doon yung bago yung 1709, no, yung related party transactions that you are going to attach in the preparation of your financial statement, no, when you submit your income tax return. And then yung pinaka-favorite ko yung revenue regulations VIDAS 1, no, kasi yun yung mother regulations ng bookkeeping. And sabi na nga natin, bookkeeping is the heart of tax compliance. No? Sa transfer pricing naman, comparability analysis, mag-compare ka ng independent transactions, unrelated party transactions. That is the heart of transfer pricing. Pero sa tax compliance naman, the heart of tax compliance is bookkeeping. No? Kasi if you follow the bookkeeping rules and regulations, if you record all your transactions, wala kayong problema. no? And then naka-reconcile lahat yung records nyo with your ITR or with your tax returns, wala kayong problema, no? Kahit ma-audit pa kayo, no problem, no? Kaso lang yung problema nyo doon sa recording, especially kung kulang-kulang yung mga resibo. Okay. So, with that, I would like to say thank you po sa ating mga viewers. Thank you very much for subscribing and for watching our videos. And yung next natin sa July 28, yun yung for the month of July natin yan. And then yung for the month of August, magbabago na po tayo ng mga cases. So, I would like to say thank you and let's call it a night.